All right, welcome to Arrowhead PM Live, episode 1. Holy cow, Ethan, 7 months ago, man. Hey, you want to start a space?
Yeah, yeah. It started off as something small, and then it just keeps growing. So
Right?
hopefully, this is just the start.
I have no idea how this happened, but hey, we're here. My name is Casey Ross. I am your host, and the co-host over here, this guy, opposite way. Got to get used to that. This is Max. Below him is Corey, and this is Ethan. These are our
What's
hosts.
up,
We got
everybody?
DG, and it's going to join us too at some point. But today he had some other stuff going on. So today we're talking a little bit Rashee Rice. We're going to talk about the 2024 wide receivers, the draft. We got some video for you. We're going to try to break down Rashee Rice's rookie season and kind of where he started and kind of where he ended up, and what do we think that he's going to turn into for next season? Is he a wide receiver 1? Is he a wide receiver 2? We'll see. I don't know. Max, what do you got? You got anything?
Man, I'm just grateful to be here. Grateful for the opportunity that Ross presented, as well as Kingdom Cast. We're gonna give it all back to Kingdom Cast, giving us this platform as well, letting us be a part of their show. Um, yeah, that's about it. I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah, Corey, what's up, man?
Same. Went from
Yeah.
taking a break for about a year, then met Ross, and he decided to drag another old man with him back into these spaces. So I guess
I got more hair. I got more gray hair.
I started to say more hair. I don't know on that one.
Oh yeah, Max definitely has the most hair. That's a fact. Well, cool. Yeah, Corey's our draft guy, along with Max. I think these guys know a lot more about the draft than I do. I'm still learning about the draft stuff and how to watch the film and the metrics and all that kind of stuff. So, Ethan, how you doing, man?
Good, man. And I mean, just kind of like what Max said. Just excited to be here, and grateful for Kingdom Cast for giving us this platform and giving us the opportunity. So
I don't know what country was thinking. He messed up.
yeah, he's gonna be like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" So
Oh my god! All right.
no, and try not to embarrass him too much.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen at some point. It may not happen today, but at some point, it's probably going to happen.
we're
So,
gonna get a DM at some point. It's gonna be like, we needed to talk.
oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he already called me before and was like, "Yo, you nervous?" I'm like, "No. What am I? I'm just putting my face on a camera. What is
Mm-hmm.
just like being in a space, right?"
just be
Um.
faces. Somebody says something, and Ross will reply, and somehow it comes out dirty.
Oh no, I'm really trying hard not to have too many pauses in this first episode. So
There's gonna be some pause moments.
I'm sure, but somebody will catch me on it and they'll pause me. So, um, let's see. Man, where to start? How about Chris Jones? That's not a topic, is it? We should probably talk about that dude. What's everybody think? What's the outlook? What's your percentage of him signing or hitting free agency, and what do you think that number is going to be?
I think there's a solid 75% chance. That's what I'm gonna give for him coming back. I mean, it would take something it would take something for him to leave Kansas City. I think a significant amount of money for him to leave Kansas City. I know that number is very important to him, that $30 million number, which there were some people saying that Matty BK's deal yesterday that was averaging 24.5 million a year, 4-year deal, would affect that. I don't think that affects Chris's deal at all. He was always going to command 30 million. So I think somewhere in the ballpark of 3 years, $100 million. Um, it's going to be right around there. He wants 30 plus. I think Veach finds a way. Um, I don't think a deal gets done before uh, the legal tampering period opens on Monday, but we will see. I know DG said that he thinks that a deal will get done Monday morning right before tampering period opens, which I could definitely see some kind of late push by Veach to not let
Oh,
him hit that market. Because if he
that would
hits
be
that
that would
market,
be such a troll move.
it would. And it would
It
be
would
so
fit
fitting.
him perfectly.
It would be so fitting for Chris and his cryptic tweets. Um, but if he hits open market, that's going to change a lot because there's going to be some teams that are going to give him that number, and he's going to be able to use that as leverage back in the KC office. So I think yeah, that's pretty much what you should watch is just that Monday deadline and what happens around then. I don't think a deal gets done before then because I think he wants more leverage and his team wants more leverage. We obviously know those brothers. But yeah, I think there's a good chance he's back. There's a better chance he's back than not for sure. And they're going to do everything in their power to keep him here.
Well,
Yeah, I'll go 50-50 on it. For me, I think we get close to the $30 million a year that he's asking. The part that worries me is the guaranteed money and how much money has to be put up front in escrow. Because anytime you have a guaranteed contract with guaranteed money up front, that money has to be paid up upfront into an escrow account. And Clark Hunt's already shown that he's hesitant to do a lot of keys in a contract like that. I think the yearly is definitely in the range that they're at. Even last year, they were only a couple million apart. The guaranteed is what worries me. That's why I'm at the 50-50 point. I don't think it's up to CJ. I don't think it's up to Veach. I think this one is falling back on Clark Hunt right now and the Hunt family on whether or not they'll pony up the money up front.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm leaning more where Corey's at on that. I think, 50-50. I hate that we're here again, I feel like we were just here last off season. I'm not looking forward to going through another off season of is he going to sign? Is he going to be here? Is he going to go somewhere else? I kind of like what Max was saying about the deadline. I hope we get something done before then because if we don't, then I really don't see it happening. And I don't think it should. I love Chris Jones. I want him here. I want him to be a Chief. I want him to, make history with us next season. So, but not if it's going to continue to hurt the team, hurt the budget, and part of that's on Brett Veach as well. Like it's not all on Chris Jones, and the Katz brothers. So, they just come to a mutual decision and let's figure out what we're going to do this off season. Hey, let's quit playing these games back and forth. So said I'm gonna say about 50-50 is where I'm leaning at it.
Yeah, I think the gap is about like this right now. But as soon as he starts getting offers from other teams, that gap's going to widen when some of those numbers start in.
Yeah.
Have that upfront money they're willing to throw around, and teams that have 70 million cap space right now without having to move contracts around. So to me, the key is to get it done before the legal tampering period starts, because that could increase the gap if we get to that point.
Yeah, and I think the other big part about this, if Chris's deal does somehow get done, that concludes that Snead is gone, because that's 19 million freed up, which you need that 19 million to be able to sign Chris Jones. So you're thinking a Snead deal to open up that money as well. So if we see to re-sign Chris, obviously they can go over the cap at first and then get back under by trading Snead. It's not something that has to happen. One has to happen first. But yeah, I would definitely be watching. If Chris does get signed, Snead is gone, which kind of rolls into Snead.
Well, he real quick that he sent out another tweet today, Chris Jones, that little hourglass looking one. So it's like the daily trolls continue. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm probably like 30% right now. I think there's just way too much money on the market for him. I just don't know that Veach, you know how Veach is. He's got a number. He doesn't want to go past that number. And I think Veach did go up on his number, but I still think he has a number and he's going to stay firm on that. He's not going to let Chris Jones take a huge chunk of this contract and not allow him to do anything in free agency. So, I don't know. I'm about 30% right now. If he signs, within like that $30 million range, I think I would be okay with that comfortably because of the cap increase, and it's only going to increase more next year. And he's so important to this defense. I mean, he's the Mahomes of the defense. So I don't know. We'll see. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's got to happen tomorrow, or it's going to happen on Monday just before the tampering period starts. So You know,
the thing I noticed too is as fans, we got to step back and we got to quit expecting these players to take major hometown discounts. It's one thing to play for a little bit less, but if you're looking at the difference in $3-4 million a year or 10-15 million in guaranteed a year, most of us would leave our job and go to another one for a $2-3 pay raise. We're talking $1 million here, so if the gap isn't real close, I think the hometown discount kind of goes out the window. And like I said, it's a guaranteed money. Some teams are willing to offer 3 years with 65, 70, $80 million guaranteed, depending on who it is. If we're 20 million below them, there may not be a chance.
Well, and we got a hometown discount with Drew Tranquil, right? But that's a completely different player than Chris Jones, who has been here through this entire process with Pat, right? So arguably should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year and didn't. But that's beside the fact. So I guess we'll move off Jones because that's pretty much a stale conversation now at this point, right? So moving on to Snead. What do you guys think about the Snead situation? Do you guys think we're trying to trade him? Do you think we're waiting? Do you think we're trying to put up a number for him to be comfortable with and for us to be comfortable with? What do you guys think?
I said all along, I think we can only afford to lose one. It would be really hard to lose both Snead and CJ on one offseason and be able to replicate the veteran presence that they bring to this team. Early on, after we tagged him, we heard a lot of smoke about trades, and that has kind of died out over the last couple of days. I wonder if that may be related to the holdups in the CJ contract and us backing off a little bit, thinking, okay, well, if we can't retain CJ, then maybe we need to think about retaining Snead and kind of pause these trade talks until we figure out if we're going to be able to get something done or not.
No. What do you think, Max? Ethan?
That's a good point. I think with Snead, we just saw, I believe his name, Jalen Johnson from the Bears get paid $19 million, which Snead is easily going to command that, if not more. I think he wants that 20 mark if he does get extended. Really, there's two possibilities with Snead. Either does get traded and we get picks for him, or obviously he comes back here and he gets extended, because there's no way he's going to play this season on the tag. For anyone watching, Snead will not play on the tag because it is $19 million guaranteed, and we're back in the same position next year. And we're not going to let a $19 million hit this year and then not get anything next year either. So I think Veach knows that as well. There are trade offers, so why wouldn't you clear $19 million? It's the same thing as Tyreek's situation that we got into. And I hate to bring up that name. I know some of us have some PTSD with Tyreek, but why keep him for 1
Not
year?
me.
Not me. I mean,
I'm good with what we got. I am so good with what
I
we
am
got.
too. I'm good with how it ended. But my point there was, would you keep a guy for a year or go sell him while you can and get picked, but get value while you can? And I think that's where they are. I do think that there is a world where neither of these guys are on this team next year. I will agree with Corey. Like I said at the beginning of the season or off season too, like you have to keep one. And I think you have to keep one. But we've seen Veach do some crazy things before. It wouldn't put me past him to let both go. And I think just if you are going to lose Chris, you're going to have to get something in the draft for him. That's a given. But if you just have Snead there and you're paying him that amount of money, which we haven't seen Veach pay a corner before. That's the other part. We haven't seen Veach pay a corner. Obviously, he probably hasn't had a corner up to Snead's caliber yet. The only one that's close is Jarius Ward, which he went and gambled, and he won that free agency. So that's the only one even remotely close. I would say, obviously, Snead has had a way better year than Ward's last year here before he got that pay raise. But I think there is a team in some multiverse that doesn't have either of these on it next year, because you can get draft capital out of Snead and you can replace both their positions. You clear a lot of cap space for other potential targets, wide receiver, tight end, running back, clear a lot of space for other potential targets by losing them both. And if we're trying to get young again, I could see it.
Definitely have to upgrade the offense if we go that route, losing both of them, because I don't. without
Oh yeah.
carrying offense through a full season like the defense did this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if we're clearing up that much cap space, like there's somebody huge that they're wanting to get. Like that's a lot of cap space that it would clear out
Lot.
to get rid of Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. So I'm more on the lines of one of them will be gone. I don't want to see either one of them go, but if it was up to me, I mean, I'd rather see Sneed here next year, to be honest with you. And that's kind of a, an outlier there. Not a whole lot of people would agree with that, but I love the secondary being locked down. What Sneed done this year was nothing short of remarkable. He was one of the top cornerbacks in the league, and that's not even up for question. Now, granted, you need the pass rush, but I think we can get that other places for cheaper and younger. So that's just kind of my opinion on it. I don't know. Like I said, I would prefer that we were able to keep both of them, but realistically, I don't see that as an option. So,
Well, I hear Philly's got a new defensive end that's 24 years old. It's they might be willing to trade.
I'm all for it.
Oh man, I think the other thing that Ethan just hit on, there are a lot more options when it comes to D line than obviously a superstar corner. And another thing that we've seen with what Spags has done on this defense throughout the draft of the last 2 years, he's changing the play style of this D line. It is not your typical fast fly arounds, speed edge rushers. It is a power. We're going to push you over and beat you play after play, and by the fourth quarter, you're going to be tired. And that's what we saw. Obviously, he likes those guys that can be moved around, that are versatile. But picks like Karlaftis and FAU, these are guys that are going to power rush you, that are going to get your guy on their heels. Obviously, FAU not as much, but Karlaftis is a Spags. If Spags could have put a defensive end in a simulator, it would have came out as Karlaftis. He was the perfect Spags edge rusher, and I think that there might be an identity change here on the D line as well.
Yeah. Well, I think that even if they do get Chris Jones back, they're going to have to add another defensive tackle at some point, right? Either draft or free agency. They're going to have to add another defensive end, right? Because Dana's not coming back. He's pricing himself out. I don't see him coming back. So, I mean, they've still got some pieces they got to add to this defensive line, even if you do get Chris Jones back. But the secondary is a little bit different. Like, we're young. I mean, you still got Watson back there. You still got Williams back there. You got Nico, right? Who's the other one? I'm missing one.
Say Watson.
Watson? Yeah, I said him, but there was another one.
The one that got hurt.
Nazi.
Are you talking about
Yeah, Nazi. Yeah. And
Johnson.
Nazi was predicted to maybe be a starter past year. So,
and don't forget Jamari Conner was able to play that hybrid role and move around, very similar to he did at the very beginning of his career.
Yeah, well, that goes into the safety realm, which I don't think we're going to touch that topic today. But
we talked about that enough yesterday.
I could see them pulling him down, being that nickel corner too, because he shows that he's up in coverage.
Well, I forgot. Last year, Spags was talking about this at training camp. Was they talking about him playing in the slot or as an outside corner? I'm talking about Nazi. Was he talking about playing him in the slot, or was it more of the outside?
I'm not sure.
Do you remember? In training camp, he was talking
all
about
All I know is
I remember he was hyped up. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess with that, we'll start talking about Rashee Rice and kind of get into that, because if there was one player on offense that you could say really shined this season, it was Rashee Rice.
There weren't many.
No, there wasn't. I mean, pretty much everybody in the wide receiver corps pretty much took a poop and didn't know how to play wide receiver all of a sudden. I mean, these guys were in the Super Bowl last year, most of them, except for two. Or was it two? Or was it one? Oh, two, because Rice counts.
Richie James
was in there. So they came in this year for some reason and just forgot how to catch the ball. They forgot the assignments. They didn't know where they were running on the field. And Rashee Rice just kind of came in as a rookie and just gradually started making more and more plays throughout the season, getting more and more confident. Trying to think, what game do you guys think he really took that first step in becoming like our top receiver on the field?
I mean, it would have to be that first 100-yard game against Vegas. I think he went for, was it 8 or 9 catches for 107 yards, I think it was.
What week was that?
That was
15.
12?
Yeah.
Week
It was
12?
so it was right after the Eagles game, so week 12.
Okay, so yeah, it was 8 for 107 and a touchdown.
8 for 107. So yeah. So I mean, that's putting up wide receiver 1 production right there. And I think that's what really gave him the confidence going into the last 8 weeks. And then playoffs, like that. He can really do this at this level. I think that's what gave a lot of us hope. There was kind of that half of the fan base that wasn't excited, and the other half was like, oh, Andy Reid's not going to use him that much. And he's projected for 500 and something yards at the time, And so once he done that, I was like, all right, this kid can ball. He's a playmaker. You just get the ball in his hands. His yak alone is probably the best on the team by far.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
third in the league. He was third in the league.
Yeah. So that's when I was like, all right, this is his moment. Like he's gonna step up. So I would say probably around that Vegas game.
Yeah. A lot of people remember last year, just after the draft, a lot of people didn't like my comp of him, but my comp of him was Amon-Ra St. Brown. And mainly because they are some of the best zone receivers in the league. Amon-Ra doesn't have the burst that Rashee has, but the ability to find space in zones and then the yak that they get after that is ridiculous. Like both of them are Amon-Ra is always top 5 in the league in yak. And regardless of what people say about the speed difference, it's the ability to recognize zone coverages, recognize where the soft spots are going to be, and then taking angles to make the first defender miss and getting that yak. And both of them are, if you look at this year, he's right behind Amon-Ra. And I think Amon-Ra was either 1 or 2 and Rice was 3 in yak this year.
Yeah, I mean, he had. So just give you a perspective on that. I answer this question right here from David. I don't think Chris Jones is the type of player that is going to be motivated whether or not he gets money or not. I don't think he's not like what's his face that got he signed that humongous contract back in the day for Washington. Remember Albert Hainsworth? He's not an Albert Hainsworth.
CJ's a competitor. CJ
he wants to win.
Wants to be in the postseason every year. He wants to win championships.
Yeah, not a chance.
Yeah,
not a chance.
Would you say, Corey? Would you say that same thing if a team like the Commanders picked him up though?
Regardless where he goes, he's going to want to be competitive.
Yeah,
right.
Even if it's individually, where he wants to be in the top of the league for D tackles, backs, his individual production, he's always going to be a competitor in that sense.
Yeah, no chance that he comes in and starts, being lazy and not giving full effort. That's just not the kind of guy Chris Jones is. He's going to go out there and he's going to absolutely ball out to the best of his ability. Money's not going to matter to him. I mean, it matters to him because he wants to get paid, and I think he deserves it, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But does it fit within our salary cap, our game plan for the next year to 3 years to 4 years? That's what I'm worried about. So, going back to Rashee Rice, so he had 221 snaps versus zone, and he had 134 snaps versus man. He had 53% win rate in both man and zone. That's pretty good for a guy who everybody says he couldn't create separation.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really understand the guy can't create separation. He was in college at SMU. He was the number 3 in target separation, number 3 overall wide receiver in target separation. He was number 2 in target accuracy at SMU. Like, this kid could always ball. He could always create his own separation. He obviously led our team in targets for a reason. Obviously under, we know who. But going back to the question, it's right around that Miami bye week Philly Vegas game where he really started to bloom. I think Miami is where you first start get glimpses, because that was his first game where he led the league or led the team in targets was in Miami. The bye week, I think they talked stuff over. Philly, again, second in targets or second in snaps. I'm talking snaps, not targets. And then it rolled into that Vegas game. So I think it was a buildup of those 3 weeks before, and then Vegas is where it all finally showed. And from there, he was off to the races.
Yeah. Well, he kind of fell in. I think he kind of fell into that wide receiver slot that we needed more to run, right? Because we had nobody coming over to the middle. We had nobody working off of Chris Jones. Good grief. Of Travis Kelce. And it shows in this right here. He only had 5 deep targets the whole year. That's insane to me. For a guy that did so well with jump balls in college and stuff like that, like there's like no fade routes, no post routes, no post corners, nothing. Like
and one of them was his own play call.
Yeah, right. We're going to show that.
But like
we're going to
one
show
of
that.
them was his own play call. But I mean, he didn't beat out Sky Moore in snaps until that Week 9 game against Miami in Germany. It's like Sky Moore was still getting more snaps until Miami, which is crazy.
Manny,
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
He's like, you can't kick me out of here.
There's no gulag here.
You can't put me in the goo here. Grief, Manny. All right, so he had, so this stat kind of interested me. He had 22 red zone targets. He caught 16 of them. Like we need him in the red zone. We need targets to him in the red zone.
Yeah, the thing
we should have had more.
Really use him as the big body receiver in the red zone. A lot of those, and I think like 6 of his touchdowns were those little smoke screens. And like I said, his burst is just so good, and his ability to make a cut to where he makes the first defender miss is just unreal.
I mean,
touchdowns called back on holding penalties on that same route. It's just, it's almost like Mahomes. He's not fast, but he's just faster than everybody chasing him.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that usage in the red zone as well. We saw his drags and right here, these screen passes, these bubble screen passes. We saw it here. We saw it in that Miami game in Germany where he took one. And also, I believe, I'm forgetting one.
He did a bunch of them.
I believe his touchdown one of the ones in the Cincinnati game as well. We saw him on this bubble screen action a lot. And I think it's a place where he can be successful. He has a vision downfield. He puts his foot on the ground and goes. He can make a move. Obviously, we saw what he did to Darius Slay, owned him there. Like that right there. It's just he's so smart too when it comes to route awareness and where guys are going to be. He finds the soft spots, which that's my big thing with Rashee after going through his film, is watching him and Travis Kelce. They both do the same thing, and they both work with Mahomes. And I think that's the biggest thing for Mahomes is that he works with him. He's going to move with him. He's going to extend plays with him. And he's going to find the soft spots in zone coverage. There's one against Miami that was beautiful, Miami in the wild card game. And he runs like a 10-yard hitch, and there's a linebacker right in front of him, and he shifts over 2 yards. Like he knows how to find these zones. He's not only obviously an athlete, but he's football smart, which is what you look for in wide receiver ones, the guys that can do that and extend plays.
One thing early in the season, he wasn't very good when he had to run routes where there were levels. He would run them too short or too high, and he would be right next to somebody else. Towards the end of the season, he started to find the groove in that, and he worked really well off Kelce when they were working off at different levels and like short, intermediate crossers where one would pick the deeper route, one would pick the shorter route. And that's when he started to eat, was when him and Kelsey started playing off of each other, where Kelsey would pull a linebacker or the safety away and Rice would make an outcut, or vice versa. So he started to develop a better feel for where he was supposed to be the second half of the season.
Yeah. Looking at this route, do you guys think this is a good route for Rice, given his speed and explosion? Look, watch this. That
I
Honestly,
think carried that maybe further inside. He should have kept going inside, used his body to keep inside leverage, and let Mahomes put it on his body there. Right there where he stopped and pivoted outside, I think if he would have kept going, Mahomes would have had him for 6-7 yards.
right there.
First down. Yes, if he'd have kept going inside there and broke it off more towards that linebacker dropping back, if Mahomes would have hit him there, he would have had a first down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing sideline right there. I'm with you, Corey. I definitely think if he kind of cuts back in a little bit on the inside, it definitely would have made it easier to throw and catch. A little bit cleaner.
Yeah, it just looks very rounded. Like the cornerback is
Yeah.
going, okay, you're just gonna do that, okay, that's fine.
Like I said, he was playing outside and giving him the inside, and he cut it back right into him and literally ran into him, which slowed down the progression of the play. I think he should have taken it inside, maybe sat down a little bit so he didn't run into the linebacker. Mahomes hits him in stride. He's got a first down there.
Yeah, that's a good point from DG though. I mean, he did clear the space for MVS, and maybe that's what initially that route was for.
Yeah, I mean, he pulls him away, so. Hitch and go.
That's like I said, we don't know what the route concept was on that, but it looked like it was meant to go inside, and he may have read that if he went inside and pulled that cornerback, Mahomes has to throw that on more of a lob pass to get it over that cornerback who's now over the middle.
Right. So this one here, this is something that I think he learned later on in the season to kind of start slowing it down and just kind of find that zone right here, right? Boom, just stop. Like you took a couple steps too far, you know?
What game is that against?
This is the Raiders.
Raiders? Okay.
I mean, I think that when he read right, the only thing he could have done
See
different.
right here, stop it and just kind of work a couple feet to the left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just stop and work your way. Like that's something that Kelsey does amazing. He'll do a route and he'll see the coverage.
He'll
And
curl
he'll
off.
see that. Yeah, he'll just stop right there and he'll kind of take like 2 steps back to the left where he came from.
that is the one thing with Rice that I've noticed is on those drag routes, you don't see him sit down as much. The ones that you really see him sit down on is the deeper crossers around 12 yards.
Yeah.
That's where I was seeing him finally find those zones. He can find it behind the linebackers. Those drags are just so important to keep the flow going. And I think he gets going so fast. Going back to that hitch and go one, I didn't think that was that bad of an adjustment.
The hitch and go?
Here,
Okay.
replay that one again.
With the first one?
Yeah, that one may have been intentional. No, the one after that, the one you were just talking about, where he should have
The
curled
drag
off.
route?
Thank you, Keenan Queens. That one?
Yeah, and I mean that one's just scheme. He's clearing space there, like DG said. He's clearing space for DG, or for TT for MVS. He's bringing that linebacker down. He has 2 guys on him in that play. To me, looking at it as an offensive coach, like if I'm an offensive coach and I see 2 of their guys on one of mine, that's a win.
Yeah.
I think that was the correct route, because if you watch it and watch the linebacker pull up on Rice, that's what opened up Kelsey over the top.
Yeah.
I think for him to cross into that side of the field to get that linebacker to pull forward to open top, that's the route I was talking about.
Yeah. This is what Rashee Rice is amazing at, especially around the goal line. I love this about this guy, dude. Just grab it and just full steam ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he splits defenders so well. Right there, what he was doing when he ran into the end zone, just splitting defender. It's hard. You're going to get a yard or two extra if you split the defender. So he does that well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He just,
watching
go
that
ahead,
from
Max.
the end zone view, because I watched this Miami game this morning. Watching that bubble screen into the touchdown, it was just like there's no way he should have scored on that play. There's no way. I believe it was Justin Watson that had a good block, but there was four guys around him and he split all four of them. There was no way he should have got through that, and he found a lane and took it. I think that's the other part about him is he has more speed than people think. He ran a 4.5, I believe, and
Yeah. 4.5.
he-
Anybody know what his gauntlet was?
I don't know what his gauntlet was.
Yeah, it's his first step. So everybody knows he's not a speed receiver, but his burst makes you take a bad
Hell
angle. You're not factoring in just how quick he is off that first step.
Hell of a catch. See, and this is another example here. He kind of rounded off that route coming out.
I think that he started the route too soon. Therefore, he had to round it out to get to the first down marker. I think that route was supposed to be more of a straight line than straight to the sideline. I think the slot corner there, I think, kind of jumped the route and made him cut it off sooner. And that's why he cut it off and kept going upfield to make sure he got to the sticks. Because I think that was on third down, wasn't it?
I like that route personally. I like that route
I
personally.
can't remember.
He's the inside receiver in that trio, and he has to get outside of both corners. You see him take a drop step and get outside leverage. That means he has to stem around two guys. That's difficult. Stemming one guy is hard, but stemming two guys as well as letting your guys in front of you clear, he has to give them time. He has to give MVS, and I forgot who else was in that trio stack, but he has to give them time to clear in front of him, which is why he gets that hesitation step, outside leverage, and then you see obviously once he got to his landmark, he put his foot in the ground and went to the sticks. So that to me was a good route. I mean, I think part of that rounding of the route is him still coming out of his break because you don't really see him push up field in that route. So that was a good route to me. That was a good rep for him, especially with two guys on him.
Yeah, it looked like the quarterback was playing off coverage, but they kind of closed the space on him. So I think he had to cut it off just a little bit sooner than he wanted to, but it was the right call.
Yeah.
It's looking for his gauntlet time.
There's another one. I like that. I mean, that one's not bad.
Where's he at on that one?
He's on the bottom.
See, here, pause it when he gets there. I wish if he would have cut back towards the middle right there or stayed where he was instead of folding outside. That's what Kelsey is really good at. He'll get that man closing on him right there, and he'll catch it and does that little wiggle curl and gets back towards the middle of the field. I'd like to see Rice utilize that more on more downfield routes. If he would have kept it and just squared his body up there, caught it, and then made a move towards the inside, that boundary is an extra defender. I think he'd have had more space if he would have taken that inside right there, because over the middle, it's a clear out route over the middle, so there's plenty of space. That defender there in the middle is heading upfield.
Where's Pat? Pat's got somebody in his face right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the one. Oh no, that's not the one I'm talking about. There's one against Miami where he sits down in his zone beautifully. It's that same exact type of route that he runs right there over the middle. But that's the difference between then and later on in the season. Is later on in the season he shifts over 2 steps to the left, and it's right in a hole. It's right in a hole shot for Mahomes.
I'm sorry, I just gotta. Hey Moore, I need you to do this every time, please. Watch him, bottom, right here. Boom, no dancing.
He still did. He still found a reason. He still found a reason to dance on his break when there was no one around him. Put your foot in the ground and go to the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, see, earlier on here, I don't think there's a couple times where Pat's not even looking that way.
See, right there. Here, go back to that one. Go back to that one.
Which one? The one we were just looking at?
TG.
This is an example of a bad route, even though he got help. Look at how he had the corner beat. And instead of going to the pylon, look how he curls and
Yep.
a defender to come underneath. Back it up a full second, if you can.
Back it up.
Yeah. Okay, now play it. Now watch how he initially beats him. He should take that to the corner of the pylon, but he curls it off low. So he scored there. He had a chance to win on that route, and he let the defender get back in it by curling towards the sideline instead of going to that back pylon. I think he should have taken that to the back pylon, and it looked like he was the first read too. He had an issue early on with that, with breaking routes off early.
I like this. DG. I know that wasn't Scott Moore making a play. He made plays when he didn't dance at the line getting off the line.
And Sky Moore is a whole different conversation in his evolution from last season to this season. There's definitely some mechanics that were different.
Yeah.
But he will, for anyone not wanting Sky Moore on this team next year, he will be here next year. Oh, no way. Is that a Kansas City Chief dropping the ball?
No, that's one particular person dropping the ball that no longer is on this team.
Yeah,
you got him beat.
That.
You got him beat. You got him beat. Yeah, I'm not going there. All right. Let's see what else we got here.
Ooh, pull up that Cincy catch.
Okay, I got to switch up here then. Hold on. Talk some on yourselves for a moment, please.
Well there's one guy.
Where do we see his projection for next season? Do we see him as having wide receiver one capabilities, or do we see him being a more high level wide receiver two?
I mean, it depends on what we do. I could see him putting up, wide receiver one production. Obviously, I mean, he done it pretty well this year. Had he started off and got the same opportunities that he got, from week 12 on, he would have been 1,000-yard receiver easy. So I see absolutely no reason why he can't be wide receiver one coming into this year. Now, if we go out and we sign, I don't really see anybody theoretically that we could sign that would take over that role from him, but it would have to come from the draft, in my opinion. So I don't know. I definitely think he has the capability to produce like that. So
for me, the term wide receiver one in this offense is so broad, because realistically, what is a wide receiver one in the Chiefs offense? Mm-hmm. Like, are we talking about the X wide receiver? Or are we talking about the guy that gets the most production? Are we talking about the guy that gets the most snaps? The guy that gets used in the most places? To me, when I think about wide receiver one, is the guy that can run that X spot, that can play outside. Obviously, you can bring him inside on some, but that guy that plays outside on most stuff, which leading into this year, we saw him in the slot, I believe, like you said, 50% of the time. But, like, he led I believe that was his highest snap share was in the slot. I believe it was like 400 or something in the slot.
He had 51% of his snaps were on the outside.
Really? Okay, well. Mm-hmm. My bad.
Plop.
This is the play for me that kind of showed it to me that he could be a wide receiver one and play outside. Obviously, we didn't get to see him downfield a lot this year, which kind of sucks, because that's kind of like that's at least what I expected to get out of him after watching his SMU tape after we drafted him. But this is the play that kind of showed that to me, that he does have that outside ability to be able to beat a guy one-on-one and get downfield, because in the Chiefs offense, that's what you have to do at that X spot. You have to be able to stretch the field vertically and get downfield. You can go ahead and play it. He's up top on the screen. Obviously, just beats him off the line. A great inside release to a guy playing head up. great inside release on him and just dust him. I mean, this was something that was special to me because it was also at a very critical point in the game, and he called his own route. It was also a spark that the team needed. The only thing, as we see here at the end, he gets caught. The only thing that is different about him versus something I think that you do see from a lot of the Chiefs wide receiver ones is that top end speed to where if they catch the ball, they're gone, which we kind of saw from McCole that he was able to do and stretch the field. Obviously, he wasn't at our X spot. But I think that's where we're starting to get into other guys that it is interesting if like Corey was saying, if we do bring in some, or like Ethan was saying too, like if you bring in someone else that can stretch the field vertically and is able to have that top end speed to score on this play right here, who would have scored on this play, I think that there is a chance he takes over that spot from Rice instead. Also, Rice's success came in the slot. He was so good in the slot. He was so good over the middle, and the Chiefs have lacked a cruiser wide receiver for so long. And I think it really does. It does depend on what we get at the end of the season or at the end of the offseason here. What our wide receiver room looks like and what type of players we get in free agency and draft. Obviously, I feel like there's two options there. Either Rashee Rice is gonna stay inside. Yeah, I just have a feeling he's gonna stay inside. I think he has wide receiver one ability. But I don't think it's needed for this team.
Well, I don't. That's not how we do things here.
Yeah.
Right, Ethan? I mean, we don't run a typical you're an outside, you're an inside guy. Like
Exactly.
that it just shows like almost 50% of his snaps were 50-50 inside outside. So if you're going to play wide receiver here, you're going to need to play inside and outside.
Yeah, it's more game dependent and scheme dependent. Our wide receiver one game won't be our wide receiver to the next game. It's based off of how they're playing us. So they're playing us heavier zone or heavier man, or they're playing us 2 deep shell, or they're playing 1 deep, or it all depends on how they're playing us, on who is going to get the better reps that game, whether it's Kelsey, whether it's Rice, whether we bring in somebody like Worthy or AD on the outside that can beat somebody over the top. It's going to be game dependent. We'll have there may be a 100-yard receiver one game, may have 40, 50 yards the next game, while another receiver has 80, 90 yards. I don't think we'll ever have a true number one wide receiver, even when we had Tyreek here.
Oh, we will eventually.
And that's why
Kelsey's getting ready to retire in 2 years, guys.
And that's why I preface this with what is a wide receiver one on the Chiefs? Like, truly, what is a wide receiver one on the Chiefs?
So I'm definitely looking more towards the production side of it than a specific spot, just because, like Ross just said, we don't have guys that are playing, the X or the Z consistently, or even slots. So I'm looking at production wise. I'm looking at guys like Juju when he was here. Out of the wide receiver, we all know while Kelsey's here, he's going to be the main target. That's who Mahomes is going to look for.
Yeah.
But that guy that's going to step up outside of Kelsey and produce, and that was Juju, 2 years ago, and that was Rice this last year. So that's more, I guess, what I'm looking at with the quote unquote wide receiver one talk.
Right.
Who's going to be the primary wide receiver? Who's going to step up when Kelsey's getting bracketed, or who's going to step up and make that big play for you? And so that's why I say with Rice, I have no doubts that he can do that. I think he's shown more than enough potential to be able to do that, and he's just going to get better. He was running a very limited route tree for most of the year. I think Ross mentioned it earlier. He had 3 or 4 plays where he went deep. He's not.
He had 5 targets deep. 5 targets.
He's not running. He's not running that very much, and with his top end speed, I don't think that's the best scenario for him per se. But
right,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say he got a lot of his yards off of Yak this year. 656 yards from Yak, and that's third in the league. That's crazy.
656 of 900 and something.
Yeah. Out of 938. Go ahead.
This right here is the play I was talking about earlier. The difference in those Miami routes that you see. that Miami route that we watched earlier in Germany, he ran this short crosser and stayed in the middle and just stayed behind the linebacker. This right here, he knows he's behind that linebacker, takes 2 steps to the left, and it's a perfect hole shot for Mahomes. And I think that's what I was talking about. This is the evolution of Rashee Rice throughout the season. He got smarter. He had way more chemistry with Mahomes than any other receiver on the field other than Travis Kelce, obviously. But right here, he knows he's behind him, 2 steps to the left, and he's there. Like that's something that we didn't see in Week 9. Also, Ross, I don't know where you saw that he was 51% outside, because mine shows that he ran 387 snaps from the slot and 197 from outside.
I saw that stat somewhere. Somebody's posted it. One of our film analysts on Twitter. I'll have to find it, and I will confirm that. Back myself up on Twitter.
Because my percentages show that he ran left slot 24% of the time, right slot 22%, left outside 13, right outside 10.
Where'd you get that at?
That is from.
Just so I can.
That's RotoWire.
Okay.
Also on this play, watch how quick he drop steps after the catch and gets upfield. Most receivers will try to flatten that out and move horizontal to try to get a view of where the defense is. But look at how quick he just turns and gets upfield.
Well, that's what he does. As soon as he gets the ball, he's a turn and burn type of guy.
That's why you see so much extra yards after catch for him. He doesn't have any wasted movement. He catches it and gets up.
Yeah, I love that play.
We've got one receiver that has no extra movements, and we've got another receiver that's
well, they have extra movements, just some of them are pointless.
Let's see. We'll start with this one.
Perfect example of basic football can win you games. He doesn't do anything extra. He catches it and gets upfield.
And these deep crosser routes from the slot, he's so good at them. I don't see why we would move him away from that. And to go back to the question of, is he wide receiver 1 capability? And if we're talking about leading the team in yards, and just receptions and pure stats, obviously under Kelce, yes, I would say yes, he is definitely capable of that. Especially if you add a guy that can run the other spots that we had Sky Moore and Justin Watson running, which were our main outside guys this year. If you have a threat out there, that's just going to make Rashee Rice even more lethal. I think what we saw from him, what we saw from this year, was just a teaser. And we only got to see it for half the year. I know a lot of fans were calling for it at the 2-week mark, at the 3-week mark. Where's our rookie that we just saw score week 1? And I definitely think he has the capability to do it. And I think the biggest part of that leads to what we saw there at the end of the season, his evolution with Pat, his chemistry with Pat, and the fact that Pat trusts him, as well as the fact that he extends plays and he can find the holes in broken plays, which we know the Chiefs run a lot of off-script plays. So to answer the question, I would say yes. He's able to produce that.
I love the fact that he came back to this because Pat, I don't know how the hell he got that ball out of there. Just another Pat thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my thing on Rice too. I keep hearing a lot of takes that next year he may take the next step to an outside receiver. Why? To me, he's more dangerous when he's in the middle and has that space underneath the linebackers that he can outrun and outmaneuver.
Right.
Receiver that you move all around all the time. Every game you'll see him playing inside and out based on the matchup. I think we need another receiver that complements that can do the same thing. Instead of looking at a slot receiver, a pure outside receiver, find somebody like AD that can do both. They can interchange with him and move in and out to create those matchups.
Yeah.
And then even
is that more? Is that more making another play? Hold on,
Ross. Why are there more highlights on here?
Hold up, because I look. Oh, he didn't dance. He didn't dance. He found the zone. He caught the ball. He turned upfield. Wow, he's a bust.
That's amazing.
Please tell me how he can't get better.
Ross fooled everyone that tuned in. We told you guys we were going to talk about Rashee Rice. This is actually just a Sky Moore fan club. But no, to Corey, what you just said, that's kind of what I thought at first when I hear wide receiver 1. You think of a guy that can run the X outside wide receiver a lot more. Obviously, that's not where Rice ran a lot this year. He was primarily in the slot. Our guys, Justin Watson and Sky Moore, ran those outside reps a lot, as well as MVS ran a lot of those outside reps. And that's what you get a lot from those outside reps is stretching the field vertically.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a guy that can do that, I don't see why you would try and force Rice out there when he's been so good in the slot. He's been so good on these intermediate passes as well as these bubble screens. I know Corey mentioned I know Corey mentioned AD Mitchell. You could go either of those Texas wide receivers as well if we're going to start talking about that. Even Xavier Worthy, if he takes the top off the defense, I know DG hears me. If he takes the top off the defense, you're just clearing even more space for him. And I think that would be lethal in this offense having a burner.
I don't think that you take him away from what he's doing, what he did well. You just build
No.
on top of it. Give him some more
Yeah.
fade routes, give him some more post corners, give him some opportunities to do the jump ball stuff that he did in college that he did so well. I don't think you take it away, but
No, and I think that could be something that you see evolve next year, but I don't think it means that you don't get a guy that can go do those things still. I think you can still go get a guy that does those things and work them both. Obviously, using the guy that you go get to do that to do it more. But the fact that he's had this much success in the slot, he'll continue to do it unless Rashee Rice does go outside and they do expand that. That means that they went and got a slot guy that they trust in the slot and can continue to run those routes. I do think another thing that is interesting, if we do go get a slot guy or an outside guy, if you move Rashee outside, I know people aren't going to like this. If you move Rashee outside, you're opening up that slot spot. And that slot spot is where Sky and KT are supposed to play. And I know a lot of people don't like those two. I know some people want them off. I know some people want them off the team, but half the season they were playing out of position. They weren't playing at their true wide receiver position. So I think if you see them in the slot, especially Sky, I feel like Sky's been done so wrong just in this offense. He hasn't got opportunities where he's supposed to. Obviously they've all dealt with drops this year, but I think you could see one of those guys maybe flourish because of moving Rice outside. I don't think they did that this year just because of obviously the troubles that were going on, and they found success with him inside. But I think obviously the more places you can put a wide receiver on the field and see success, the more he's going to do damage to a defense game planning wise and during the game. So I think you could see some of him moved outside this year just to threaten defenses and give them another thing to watch on film.
Yeah. I like this one here. It just kind of shows a little bit on the blocking in the run game. He's at the top.
Hey, Ross, you got another phone next to you?
Another one? I have one phone.
Okay, look up what percentage of snaps St. Brown played in the slot.
He thought he was Kevin Gates. Well, he thought he was Kevin Gates.
Ethan, can you do that?
I'm
two phones.
I didn't know if Ross was on his phone or on his laptop. He was saying he said the other day he was still getting set up.
Yeah, he definitely can do a lot more.
The more expanded his route tree is, the more people like Guy can get involved in the slot. That's why, to me, he's a great overall piece, because I think Rice will turn in somebody that can play 60, 70% of his snaps on the outside and still do damage on those 30% snaps that he plays from the slot. I just think he's good at what he does on the inside, too, to completely take him out of the slot, especially red zone. Those quick hitters where he can get 10, 15-yard touchdowns off a little quick pass in the slot. He's good enough. He can play outside and thrive outside, but he's also good enough on the inside. I wouldn't completely take that role away from him. He can do stuff that Sky Moore can't do on those quick hitters in the red zone, especially.
So he's been playing less slot snaps every year since he's come into the league. Starting off, he was Starting off his first year, he was 77% in slot. Last year, 59%, and this year he was at 49% in the slot.
Yeah, and that's kind of the trajectory I said, and that's why I compared him to St. Brown when we drafted him, his ability to find space in zone coverage. And that's why I don't like the whole thing where you say that a slot receiver can't be a true number one. You can't tell me that St. Brown is not a number one receiver in this league, putting up over 1,200 yards a season. You can have multiple number one receivers on your team. You can have two 1,200-yard receivers. And that's what I think the Chiefs will get to if they get somebody like AD or like Worthy. Where
I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see 2,000-yard wide receivers until Kelsey is off this team.
That's probably a fact. Like, watch this. This is so if Pat just has a little bit more time here in the pocket, Rashee is wide open here in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely
Boom,
has the
cuts it right
he
there.
has the
Boom.
capability of doing this. And I mean, we saw him do it outside of the league at SMU. Didn't he lead the league in contested catch rate at SMU?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's able to run those 1v1s. He's able to run those corner routes. Obviously, the Chiefs' outside routes don't get a lot of that. They get a lot more in breaking routes, those deep posts that you see, or a fade route, or some kind of comeback route. And I think if you expand his route tree out there, yeah, it does make him more lethal. I mean, think about this year, if he was able to run where MVS was,
Yeah.
like
Well,
that would be crazy.
Is on that outside ball that he caught, where he did like the 360 in midair and toe tap the sideline. He's got the body control for contested catches like that.
That was at the Raiders, right? Or was that preseason against the Cardinals?
No, it was later in the season, I thought.
He's so good at this.
Yeah, those quick hitters.
Yeah.
And that's why I would move him away from the slot, because if they're giving that separation to the receiver in the slot, move him to the slot for a couple snaps, get him on those quick hitters, and let him take advantage of it. He's one of those receivers that you can move around to all three wide receiver positions.
This one too.
I think that he could.
I like him doing this, Corey. I like him. I like him motioning across and then going back over.
Yeah, because then you're forcing somebody one-on-one running with him.
Yeah.
And his burst is deceptive. And it causes take bad angles like you saw on that right there, because he's not a fast receiver. But the burst he has on his first step will cause somebody to take a bad angle, and before you know it, he's already by you.
Right. Well, look. At the beginning of the season, everybody's like, Rashee can't catch. Rashee can't catch.
It was against the Raiders that week where he broke out, week 12.
Week 12, 8 for 107 and a touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the catch that you were talking about, Corey. I believe. At least that's the one I'm seeing where he does that pirouette.
Oh, that's why.
A beautiful catch.
All right, so I put this one in here because I wanted to give everybody a quick look at your possible starting left tackle. Watch this run play. Left side, Wanya Morris.
Woo, he's still moving. Look at him follow.
Yeah, that's what I said about Wanya. He's got great burst going forward. He needs to work on his drop step a little bit.
Yeah, he's got too short of a drop step. He needs to work on a drop step and a little bit quicker feet and dropping his hip when he gets bull rushed. Those are all things he can work on.
Yeah.
Again, over here, left tackle, Wanya Morris, left tackle.
And now we're talking about tackle.
Yeah, I know. Well, I just had a few things in here I wanted to
show. Ross, I'm sending you that clip on Twitter right now.
Okay. You know me, man. I'm all about the trenches.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun with that later on.
This is another good one here. See, he just that's horrible. I can't stand that one. I can't stand this one.
What?
Just watch what he does here. Sits. What are you doing? Where are you going? Just what are you doing? You're just going to go up and just connect yourself.
You talking about Sky?
No, I'm talking about Moore. Okay, Moore's at the top.
That's what I said.
He's in motion. Or not Moore, sorry. Rashee Rice. He's in motion. He's at the top of the screen now.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch what he does here. He's got to work on this. What are you doing?
And that's something.
This isn't basketball.
He's the last read, so he's also reading. He's reading Mahomes' eyes here as well. I mean,
I get that, but it's the separation part. You see him start to move over to the right. I'm talking about moving with him. We talked about that a lot, right? In spaces, it's about moving with Pat.
Look
just
at
don't
Justin Ross come open in the back corner of the end zone right there. Just man.
Oh, right there. I see it. Yep.
Yeah.
And no, you know what? That play reminds me of a 49er game.
He adjusted so well to that.
His first season against the 49ers, he hit this guy. Remember?
Yeah.
Almost very similar.
Was it D-Rob?
I think it was D-Rob. It was either D-Rob or Pringle. I can't remember.
I don't remember either, but
I think this one, go back to that play again. I think this is just a really good play by either the safety or the corner there. I think this is, he's supposed to take that corner with him, but look at how the corner switches off of him.
Right
And
there?
I think that was supposed to be, the pressure got there really fast. The receiver at the top of the screen, rewind it and watch it again. I think he was expecting to drag that corner with him and Mahomes to hit the guy breaking to the outside, but the corner did a great job of pulling off of him and taking that outside receiver.
Mm. Yeah, but see, this is my point though. It's all right. I'm gonna pause it right here. Okay, so you see Watson down here at the bottom, right? All the way at the bottom, and he's gonna run over into the middle, kind of like a slant, a delayed slant. And Rashee Rice brings his guy and literally just sits there with him instead of stopping earlier and letting Watson get open. He's got a man right there, and Pat can't hit Watson. Now watch Watson at the bottom. Where's your guy?
Well, I think he done that though to hold him up.
Yeah.
Well, but he should have held him up a little bit more to the right.
Watch it. I think the disguise coverage, go back to it. They disguised the coverage on this. Watch all three cornerbacks switch their assignment on this. All three cornerbacks pick a different man. Look at them. They all three switch and cross back over. I think that may have threw Mahomes off a little bit. I think that Rice and Mahomes were expecting that outside corner to drag with Rashee. And I think they disguised man coverage for zone on that one.
Chris Conley.
Yeah.
But watch it again. Watch how the inside corner breaks to the outside. I think that was just a really good disguised coverage play.
You're talking about 29?
Yeah, run it from the beginning again. Watch how none of the cornerbacks end up on their original man. It looks like man coverage right there. Look at how he lets them pass, goes to the outside. The one, I think that kind of caught him off. I think they were expecting that outside corner to drag in with Rashee to open up that outside route, and he didn't bite on it, and the top corner slid down. I think that may have been what it was. It was supposed to be a quick hitter to the outside, and then that's why Mahomes rolled out immediately after that. I think it was a design play to bring Rashee inside to pull that corner, and that the inside receiver to slide to the outside, but they didn't bite on it. Look at how the cornerback that was originally on, look at how they switched right there. Yeah. I think expected to go to that outside receiver. Look at where Mahomes is looking.
He's already looking to the left.
Yeah, he's looking to that side, and then as soon as it's not there, he rolls to the right. I think that was a design quick hitter, and they disguised the coverage, caught him off guard, and so he pulled it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some reps that you don't win. There's going to be some reps. There's going to be some reps where the defense wins, and I think that's what just happened there. He's shown progression. He's shown growth, and I think that's what you look for in these young guys is the fact that they've grown not only physically in what they're doing on the field, but also mentally. He got mentally smarter, especially in the playoffs. Holy crap! We didn't even touch any of his playoff stats or film. Like, boy, especially that Miami game. Ooh, boy, went crazy. Like,
if you watch that again, it almost looks like Rice is expecting Mahomes to dump it off to his behind him, and it looks like he's blocking. Look at it. I think he's expecting that ball to come out right there, and he's ready to block his guy right there. I think they switched the coverage, and that kind of ruined the play. I think they were expecting man. They switched into zone, and they switched their assignments. And it looks like Rice is cutting over the middle to find that guy to block him, expecting it to be an outside throw where the receiver's got a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because it looks like...
So right here is Pat's looking towards Watson. I don't know why he doesn't unleash this. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like right block right there. It doesn't look like he stopped his route. Look at how he chop steps and gets low. I think he expected that ball to come out behind him, and he was ready to block.
Yeah. Yeah, that could have been the case.
And it did. If Mahomes would have got rid of it fast, it would have been a 5-6 yard gain on that little outside dump off. I think Mahomes just didn't expect that cornerback to switch off of Rice and close that fast, and that's what made him hesitate and not throw it.
What does that mean? A Telecaster?
Oh, so you want to be able to read what we say? Wants like closed captions.
I don't know. You got to talk to the big boss country and Chuck.
Pretty sure you can set that up on your settings, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
For him, anyway.
Yeah, it might be auto.
Yeah.
So Rashee Rice, when Patrick Mahomes threw to Rashee Rice this year, he had a 123.7 rating, quarterback rating. That was 5th best in the league.
It's inflated a little bit. It's great numbers. It's just connection, but it's inflated a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to say that he's one of the best receivers in the league. It's inflated a little bit by the quick dump offs, which easier catches, and then the yardage after catch he got kind of inflates that number. They have X in their second half of the year. Easily wide receiver 1 category if you're looking at a full year of statistics that way. But based off of his usage, I think it's inflated a little bit based off of all the short throws and the yards after catch. We'll see it drop a little bit more once he becomes on the outside, but he'll be a more versatile receiver.
Yeah, I think some guys have talked. D-Mac has talked about it before. CJ's talked about it. DG Country. I mean, pretty much everybody that we have talked to and watched on Kingdom Cast and in our spaces on X, everybody has said we just need to find somebody that complements him because he complements Patrick or Kelsey. So we need that deep threat guy, and we need that deep because MVS was getting downfield. He was getting separation, but he couldn't track the damn ball for nothing.
He could track.
Well, and the problem is when MVS goes downfield, he's not able to make any other horizontal move, so he can't run deep cross or anything like that.
No.
He's got that straight line speed, not very good cutting ability and start stops.
It's not just his physicals as well. He's not able to draw attention from a defense. You don't see
it. Doesn't catch the ball because they don't think he's going to catch it anyway.
Yeah, you don't see a defense going into their film sessions throughout the week like, oh, we're going to have to double this guy, or we're going to have to. This guy's
unless you're Cincinnati.
Yeah, I was going to say except for Cincinnati.
Unless you're Cincinnati, especially in the playoffs.
I think he's the new Tyreek.
So. But I mean, that kind of what I'm getting at is like you don't threaten the defense. They don't feel threatened by you. You have to have someone there with speed. That's what we saw with McCole, especially later in the season. McCole, he couldn't always catch during that rough stretch, but he was threatening the defense. He made them account for him. He made them put 2 guys on him and a guy over top of him. MVS, we didn't really see that much this year. Also, to go back to the point, a telestrator isn't for closed captions. It's so that we can draw on it and like a laser pointer.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That makes sense.
I gotta get
spots in the line.
We'll get to that, David. This is our first show, man. I don't.
That's my dad. That's my dad.
Oh, it's your dad. Oh, sorry, Mr. Allen. Sorry, sir.
So now the tone changes. Now you can be mean.
Yeah, there definitely was points though. I was like, man, it'd be nice if we could draw on here and kind of get that figured out. So
yeah, we'll find something. Especially where we're able to slow it down as well, pause it easier.
This is literally my first time doing some of the editing stuff with the plays and stuff. So we're gonna get better at this, Mr. Allen. I promise. So I want to lead that. So basically, what I'm saying is, we definitely need that deep threat. As far as pause, is that a mini pause?
We got one. We already got one in the first episode.
We needed one, right?
There it was coming.
We needed one. All right. So anyway, we need a guy that can go the distance and catch balls down the field.
Look at how Red Ross realizes comments.
So we're gonna need that guy that can be able to stretch the field to go along with Pat Kelsey and Rashee Rice working over the middle of the field and stuff like that. So it's, who do you guys see in the draft that would fit perfectly with Kelsey and Rashee Rice in this offense?
Worthy, but I also think Worthy hasn't been unlocked yet. I think AD took a lot of the short routes. I don't think Worthy is just a deep threat guy. I think that he's got more mobility. He's got more athleticism than MVS. He can learn some of those routes where he can cut underneath. Having a deep threat is only a deep threat if you're worried about him doing other stuff. If you're going to sit there and drop a safety over the top, I want somebody that can beat you under two. He can cut off a route, do a comeback route. I think Worthy has the athleticism to where he can be a multi-dimensional receiver instead of just a deep threat, which is what MVS is. He's just a deep threat.
Give me either of the Texas wide receivers. I don't care. They're 5A and 5B for me. I would take either of them. If I had to put one over them, I would put AD Mitchell over him, just because I think AD Mitchell is a better pure wide receiver prospect, like a complete prospect than Worthy. Don't get me wrong, Worthy is crazy good, but and I love his speed. But I mean, we're also talking about AD Mitchell. What is he? He's 6'4", right? 6'2", 6'4".
6'3".
He's 6'3". He's 6'3", like 207, and he runs a 4.35. What? A dude that size should not be running a 4.35. I'm sorry, but like, and I saw a lot of people, and I'm gonna respect DG because I know he's not in here, and he would say the same thing. A lot of people said he did not have speed and that he couldn't get downfield, that he couldn't run deep routes. What are we talking about? This dude runs a 4.35. He can get downfield. He can make plays. He can extend the field, and I think that's what's more lethal in this.
Yeah.
I think that's
to
a
Rashee Rice either. On that play that Rashee Rice made that move to do his own route,
Bengals.
Mitchell would have scored a touchdown there.
Yeah, and that's what I was
No
saying.
disrespect to Rice, I'm just saying.
No, and like we know that. Like Rashee is fast, but he doesn't have that next year. He ran a 4.5. It's no disrespect. He ran a 4.5. AD ran a 4.35. So like, there's a difference between them. If I had my choice, I'd pick AD Mitchell just because I think I want a bigger receiver, someone that can go make those big contested catches outside. With Worthy, you're gonna get another slot guy, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Depends on what you get in draft. If you get a Worthy, you're probably gonna see more of Rashee outside. And if you get an AD Mitchell, you're probably going to see them both be able to be interchangeable. You're probably going to see them outside. And I think they could both be moved around. Worthy is a more electric player, I would say, just because of his pure speed. But yeah, I'm with DG. AD is a perfect wide receiver for this offense.
I'm sure DG will be here. He'll be here next week, and he'll definitely be talking about his Texas guys.
Oh yeah.
So, what about you, Ethan? Who are you looking at in the draft? Who do you think would be coming here? Do you know anybody else that we haven't mentioned yet, or same guy?
Pretty well the same guys. I really like Worthy's speed, but AD, I mean, he kind of checks all the boxes. Another guy, and he would be a day two, late day two pick, probably. That Malachi Corley. I really like what he's been able to do at Western Kentucky. Going back, kind of watching some film on him, he's more of a slot guy, but he's not super fast. I didn't catch what his 40 time was yet. I hadn't looked up on it. I've been so busy with work and stuff. But I think he would be somebody that really seems like a Veach pick to me. Now, whether or not that's something they're looking for, I do think they're looking, kind of leaning more towards that X spot, especially with cutting MVS and stuff. So that would be kind of my oddball pick. I love what Worthy can do and AD, so I'm good with either one of them.
Now, hypothetical, if AD and Worthy are both gone, this guy's jumped up the draft boards over the last month. How do you guys feel about Ladd McConkey?
That was my guy. That's who I was going to talk about, man.
Go for it, Ross. Go for it.
I'm telling you, the Ladd, he just, to me, just feels like that overall complete wide receiver. I'm talking, he can stretch the field. He can play in the zone. He can beat man coverage. He can do the contested catches. He's extremely strong. Like, he gets hit and then he gets right back up. I mean, he's And he runs a 4.3. I mean, I think he's just a complete package. You can play him outside. You can play him inside. Like I just don't see a lot of stuff that he can't do. And I would
What
be
was his
perfectly fine
split?
picking him. Huh?
What was his split time?
I want to say it was like a 1.4.
1.4. So that's about comparable to what Rashee was.
He's somebody that's kind of exceeded everybody's expectations all the way across the board.
Yeah, and he got forced into the lineup, right? Because I think who was it got hurt, and then he came in and played early in his freshman year and kept going.
Well, even there at the last season when who was it? Their tight end that got hurt, Bowers.
I'm sorry, his split was 1.5.
1.5. Okay.
His vertical was 36.
Yeah, he tested better athletically than anybody thought he was going to be. His 40 time was better.
And he's 6 foot.
A very crisp route runner. He's a route technician. He is. I know Sky got a lot of comparison to like Edelman and Welker. I think that Ladd is more like that Welker, that well-rounded route technician that'll beat you one-on-one off the line. He'll find soft spots in the zone. He's never going to be a dominant receiver, but he's going to be a great receiver somewhere. He's going to be a great utility piece.
I disagree. I think he can be a dominant receiver just because he's got all the tools, and he runs a 4.3.
I still think
He's got amazing
4.4,
hands.
but
The other thing,
Huh?
I like Ladd. I like Ladd. I mean, he's gonna do what you need him to do. He doesn't add he's not another dimensional player that's gonna go crazy and do all these things. He's not flash. He's not that. But McConkey is grit. He has a high motor, as some would say, a big lunch pail guy.
Paul is hacky.
What do you say? What do you say? That's hey yo, hey yo. I think a wide receiver we haven't mentioned yet. Ross put me on to him weeks ago, way before the combine. Even he was like, "Hey Max, check this guy out." Jacob Cowing out of Arizona. He's starting to fly up draft boards, sadly, because we probably could have got him in the end of the third there. But he's a guy that I like a lot. He has a twitch that you don't see in a lot of guys. The last guy I saw that had a little twitch like that was who, number 10, and he's nice. He's nice. He's fast. He is very small. I believe he's like 5'9", 160, 170, something like that. But he has huge hands for his size. He has like 10-inch wingspan hands or something like that. So, and the kid can catch.
Wait, and his route running is impeccable.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
Can you imagine getting Mitchell and this guy?
Holy crap!
With Rashee Rice.
And that's the other part. If you are planning to take two wide receivers that early in the draft, you're likely not getting a big one in free agency.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting a big one anyway.
I don't think we get a big one anyway either, but I think there is a difference between spending $2 million at wide receiver and spending $8 million.
I will say, listening to CJ and DMAC talk, and then we had, was it Rod and our special guest?
Yeah.
Ron. We had Ron and
Ron Kopp.
we had Ron Kopp in our space special guest appearance on Arrowhead PM on X, and they all really they convinced me. I'm on board with getting this Hollywood Brown. I mean, I think he's going to be on the cheaper end of the option, and even if you pay him, 8 or 9, are you comfortable with that? He hasn't been in a system that's really utilized him in a way that suits his abilities, and I think that he could come in here and he could definitely help you stretch the field.
That's why
he could do other things.
Most definitely, and he's been thrown into a ringer of bad opportunities and bad just places. Obviously, the quarterback troubles that he's had all throughout his NFL career. Lamar was never really fully healthy for him. In his one season where he was fully healthy, we saw him. That was his best season. He was great. Kyler, obviously, we know the issues Kyler has had, and just that whole Arizona kind of downfall. A lot of people are calling for Hollywood. There's DG calling for Hollywood.
I think everybody's starting to get on that train.
Oh yeah, I think it would be great, especially because it lets you know what you need in draft as well. Why are we talking about Justin Jefferson? At least we haven't talked about that one guy.
Is that Manny's
That's all
all?
I'm gonna say. No, Manny was in here earlier saying that. Yeah, we're not getting each other's, bro. Thank you, Hacky. Do we want to talk about free agent wide receivers before we go? Other than Hollywood?
Yeah, we just do a quick hit on that. Yeah, quick hit on the free agent wide receiver because we got.
I'll give a realistic and a dream. Realistically.
Please don't say Jettis.
Oh no, we're talking about free agents.
Oh, okay.
And you know who I'm going
It's like Manny's is brainwashing you.
Yeah,
He's
to
taking
me,
over.
to me, Hollywood Brown and Darnell Mooney are my top two.
See, I'm. Go ahead. Sorry, Corey.
I say Hollywood. If you talk to any Ravens fan, they will tell you that he was not used properly in Baltimore. Then he went to Arizona and Kyler Murray. We've seen what he's done. If it's not Larry Fitzgerald, then he doesn't really lock on to receivers and use them as a true number one. But I like Hollywood as a speed option. He's also got a route tree. I like Darnell Mooney. I think he'd be a solid rotational piece to go in with Watson and Rice. To me, those are probably the two that are on the top for me.
Hacky is a Manny burner. Nah, Hacky and a Manny burner. I know Hacky. The only thing I would say there with DJ Moore, or not DJ Moore, I'm thinking about Bears wide receivers now. With Darnell Mooney, you're not really getting a lot different than taking a guy that's worth $2 million. You're going to get into the same position that you had with MVS. You're going to end up paying him this money, and in 2 years, he's not going to do anything for you. He's going to be a roster spot.
What, Mooney?
Yeah, I don't think he adds another level to this offense. I think he's a good player. He's young.
Prior to getting hurt?
You can get him for a good price. Yes, prior to getting hurt, but I mean, we saw what happened when a wide receiver one came into the room, and you can blame that on Fields, you can blame that on whatever, but if you're not able to produce with a wide receiver one as well, he has a great talent. He has good ball skills. Just not personally the guy I want. I think he kind of plateaued.
But
to go in. What's up?
I said, but he can catch though.
Yeah, I would hope so. That's kind of his job. Unlike we.
Did you watch last year?
Shh, we don't.
We need catches.
We don't talk about the dark years, okay?
Dark years when we won the Super Bowl. Wow. We are spoiled.
For me, the realistic option that I could see happening, a guy that I like is Kendrick Bourne from New England. I think he offers a lot to an offense. You can move him inside, you can move him outside.
He said he'd be ready by training camp too.
Yeah, and
he did an interview. I think it was on NFL Network.
Yeah, he's a cheap option and a guy that's going to do what you ask him to do. He's going to catch the ball, and I think he does have an explosive side to him. That's why I like him over Mooney, is because I think that there is some explosiveness there. There is some extra that you get there from Kendrick Bourne. My dream player. Do I have to say it? Odell Beckham Jr.
I thought you was going to say Troy Franklin.
Oh, he said the word. He said the word. We went the entire time without saying the name, and then
somebody had to say it
right at the end.
Somebody had to say it.
We had to get
right at the end.
I mean, hey, I'll do my own segment on Troy Franklin and Odell, but the little things I have to say on Odell that anyone hating on him or saying that he's washed. My bad. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Reynolds is realistic, yeah. CJ,
okay,
absolutely.
So,
see, this is what I don't like here.
So,
I don't like that the ACL. I know that he said he's going to be ready by training camp, but I mean, does that worry anybody?
It
keep
does.
getting phone calls.
I mean, I'm with CJ on that one. I don't think Veach goes for him simply because of that issue. So
yeah. To go to the Odell thing before I got a phone call. Hopefully I don't get cut off again. To anyone saying that he's washed, this was his high of his career in yards per catch. And if you're going to go stat watch his yards and catches, also stat watch the fact that he had 3 targets per game. You can't do a lot when you only have 3 targets per game and a guy that doesn't throw you the ball And I know even Ravens fans will back this, that they just wouldn't use him. Even when he was healthy, that he wasn't getting snaps. And when he did get snaps, we saw him go for 8 and 100 versus former team the Rams. We saw him go for 8 and 80 against the Bengals. Like, he has good games. He has another level to him. My biggest thing with him is, if you're going to get him, what's the price? Because if you're gonna get him, I'm not taking him for no 8 to 10. If he or maybe 8, but if he's asking for 10, which I think is what around he's probably gonna get, 10 to 12 this offseason, 10 to 11, something like that. But if he is willing to take a vet minimum and come here, would be around that 6 to 8, 5, 6 range. I would take him for 5, 6.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people don't like that.
I still think somebody will price us out just because of the name. And
yeah, I mean, hey, my dad knows. My dad's seen it. He if anyone knows, he does. It's been since 7th grade. So
his market value is around almost 12 mil.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I think it'll
OBJ?
be. I think it's around. Last I saw, it was around 10.
Okay, but here's the key. How old is he?
It don't matter.
How old is he?
He's a vet.
How old is he?
He's gonna be a vet in the wide receiver room.
How old is he?
31.
I believe he's 31.
All right. Case closed. Beach ain't doing it.
Yeah, so
That's what
his calculated market value is.
Our vet wide receiver last year was MVS. How old is MVS? And when did we sign him and how old was he?
How old was Sammy Watkins when we got him? 29? 28?
But he's still under 30.
I'm just saying Odell is different though. I'm not. I don't want to talk about Odell no more because I'll talk about it for hours. But that's why he was my. That's why.
So Corey, you got yours.
That's why I put that under my dream, obviously.
Yeah, dream. Keep dreaming. Go
Oh,
back.
I will.
You can go back and play Madden.
I'm gonna go make a jersey swap.
On Madden?
No, I mean I could put Odell in a Chiefs uni on Madden.
Yeah, you can get Jettis on there too.
Oh yeah.
Swap him for a third. Hey Ethan, did you have any? Did you already go, or did you have a couple of vets before we start closing it down?
I mean, I'm obviously with the Hollywood. I think that's probably our best bet, personally. Another one, DJ Shark. I think that's another option. The market value on it was right around 10 million.
Okay.
And Curtis Samuel, I think, would be another good option. Just somebody to come in.
I like Curtis.
I like
Curtis
that.
Samuel. Yeah.
Just somebody that can come in and start producing right away. So
over 600 plus yards the last 2 seasons with very unsteady quarterback play. I mean,
and he has familiarity with the system after playing with EB last year. So
yeah, I think he could take up that role of MVS or not MVS, Hardman if he doesn't come back.
Yeah, I didn't see what his market value was.
And then who is the Lions wide receiver? I'm thinking is it Josh Reynolds?
Yeah.
Josh Reynolds.
Yeah. What did I do, C-Man?
Josh Reynolds is probably going to cut.
Now, does anybody still think Lockett's going to get cut?
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, didn't he? I thought he did.
Yeah. No.
Oh no, he's about to, bro. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be a post June 1st, or be a post June cut, I think.
Somebody shared it was a fake post though, but I think he does. I think that's a realistic option too. That we're looking at somebody that's a utility speed player. I think if he becomes a free agent, he might jump up there with Hollywood as the number one.
But see, here's the thing too, though. He's over 30 years old. Is Beach going to do it?
But
for a 30-year-old receiver.
He's got a legacy with his dad playing here. He'll be better than OBJ. And he also has the health factor. He stayed healthy every year, where OBJ has had health issues. So I would rather somebody that's had a healthy career year in and year out over somebody the same age that misses every other year with an injury.
What are you smirking for? What the hell's going on over there?
Everyone will see. That's all I'm gonna say.
He's already figuring out that jersey swap for Odell.
I'm just thinking of what I'm gonna say on a topic full of Odell.
Oh, okay. I'll write that down for next Saturday then.
Yeah, y'all down him, man. He was their second best wide receiver this year. But I mean, hey, let's throw passes to Rashad Bateman. If any Ravens fans are in here, ask me, did you guys really want Rashad Bateman back? Like,
He's been too injured throughout his career to even get rid of
I
him.
need my soundboard in
he
here.
played 14 games this year.
Yeah, but I'm talking about his previous 2-3 years. He's been hurt so much that he's never been able to develop that connection with Lamar.
What? This was his first year. This was his first year in Baltimore.
Yeah. He only signed a 1-year deal. Talking about
Yeah.
OBJ.
Oh, I was talking about Bateman.
Ah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Talking about how he couldn't throw it to Bateman. Bateman he had high hopes coming in, but he was injured so much that he never had a chance to really develop with Lamar. I thought Bateman was going to be better than he turned out to be, but I think injuries killed his career early.
Yeah, but he also had a ton of drops this year.
Yeah.
He had a ton of drops this year. I will die on the Odell Hill. And I'll do it by myself if I have to, which I will. I will be by myself. Actually, no, I got Manny. With me.
Yeah, you can do
Manny's
it with Manny.
up for everybody though.
Yeah, wait,
Right.
he's gonna bring Troy Franklin with him.
Twice, and you're the one that said it, just like the other day in his face.
No gulag.
So just to throw the Rashee Rice some stats out there just before we get off here. He had 102 targets. It's roughly 6 per game. 24% of those targets were in the red zone, and he had 58% of the snap counts in the wide receiver group by the end of the year.
Red zone is where I like the higher percentage of snaps in the slot, just because of that ability to get yards in a compact area like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy that by the end of the season, he was basically 60% of the snaps. So he really turned it on about halfway through.
That's what was wild to me looking at the stats. Like the fact that he led the league He led the team other than Kelsey. He led the wide receiver room in snaps at 744. The next closest guy is Marquez, and that's at 697. Like he's beating him out by 50 snaps nearly, and it's just wild to me because he wasn't even the highest snap usage wide receiver on the team until week 9. Like he wasn't even leading the team in snaps until week 9, and he's still.
No!
No way!
No way!
Did we miss that during the space?
Yeah, it just happened. I thought I got a notification.
Wow! 2 years, $34 million left on his existing deal.
$13 million guaranteed.
They re-signed him, restructured his deal. 2 years, $30 million with a max value of $34 million, nearly $13 million guaranteed this year. We were not going to pay him that money, so I'm okay. That is crazy money. Whoa!
Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, he's going to be cheap. He can come in cheap. Oh, you can get him for cheap." Guys, I'm telling you, this $30 million increase to the salary cap is going to make these guys want to get paid, and it's going to push them.
I expect MBS.
Whoa!
But I would like to have him on MBS money over MBS on MBS money.
What's up, Chris? Yeah, that's crazy, man. All right, well, that dream's over.
Short-lived.
Back to
yeah, back to Hollywood Brown and Gabe Davis and other guys.
I don't hate Davis. I don't see the hate for him. I mean, the man killed him.
Yeah, it's time to cut.
Yeah. What do you think, Sam?
For one, a wide receiver 2, but he could be a solid role player.
If you want to replace only the role of MVS, Gabe Davis fits the bill that Veach would go after, and he's younger, and he catches the ball better,
and he's got a better feel for his own coverage. MVS, man.
I know nobody wants Gabe Davis. I don't want him either, really, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to think about WWED. What would Veach do?
After all the crying that we heard about the wide receivers all off season, now we're asking for Gabe Davis. I just can't. Like, we're gonna have to hear it again next year.
I'm gonna say
End the
one.
show.
I'm gonna say one 2-letter word, and it's no.
I mean,
I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
I'm going to say one thing about it. Gabe Davis had more production in one playoff game than MVS had all season for us.
He was also playing against Mike Hughes and Rashad Breeland. Okay, like
CJ knows what's up. See, if CJ was in here right now, he'd be backing me up. He knows it's a Veach move. I'm just saying. I don't want him, but it makes sense for Veach.
I wouldn't give him big money. I'd give him a cheap contract. He came here for cheap. Same with like Tyler.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options, but I mean, hey, we aren't gonna know here for a while, probably within this next week we will. At least hopefully by the next show, there's some chatter going around, so we can bring that up. But
Yep.
As of now, it's all speculation. I think that there's guys, and Veach is gonna do what he needs to do, and he's gonna get his guy.
Yep.
Also, like we said, you can throw out tons of wide receiver names in Chiefs Kingdom right now, and nobody's going to agree on one wide receiver.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Everybody looks at it differently. So.
Yep.
Just saying. We're just being honest. So, all right. Well, man, that was a heck of a first show. I think we kind of got through it pretty smoothly. Yeah.
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 Only 2 Troy Franklins.
Other than Corey over here, and he's like, man.
Oh wait, that was a third.
Corey's getting ready. Corey's going to go buy a brand new computer. Screw this phone. Man, I want to say to everybody who is watching right now, you guys are awesome. 600 people are watching for our first show. That is insane. That is mind blowing to get that kind of support right out the gate. That is amazing. Thank you guys all so much. This is awesome. So hopefully we'll keep creating the content that you guys want to see. I mean, it's going to be a lot about film. It's going to be a lot about, dissecting these players and seeing how they fit and how they work for us. In the regular season, it's going to be a little bit different. So in the regular season, we're going to be switching over to Tuesdays, and it'll be right about the time. What did we talk about? Was it 7? I think, because we wanted to go 1 hour on a Tuesday and then have it go right up to Kingdom Queens. That way you can leave our show and then go right to Kingdom Queens and get back-to-back content. So
yeah, I'm not sure the exact time. That's something that we can put out in a tweet for sure. So
yeah,
everyone, all 600 of you watching this right now, follow Kingdom Cast, follow the Twitter, follow the Facebook, follow the YouTube, Kingdom Cast, so you can stay updated on all these shows. Obviously, we are not the only show on Kingdom Cast, so definitely go support, guys.
Yep. We are just a small part. So
you've got Kingdom Cast, Kingdom Queens, you've got DMAC, DG, CJ,
Tell the Truth
podcast.
Yep, Tell the Truth. So like, share, subscribe, turn on that little bell so you get the notifications when all of us go live. I really appreciate the support. Country, Chuck, DG, all you guys over there. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. There's somebody I'm missing. What's her name? Kylie. Thank you. So sorry. Kai, you're going to get mad at me. I'm so sorry. Thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. I mean, this is not something that we expected, not something that I expected. I had no clue that this would even come to this far. Like I said, Ethan and I just literally messaged each other and said, hey, you want to do a space? Like, there's no Chief spaces in the morning. You want to do one? Like, yeah, sure. Then we met Max and we met Corey and then DG, and then it just kind of went that way. So to have this kind of support right out the gate with Arrowhead PM Live, awesome. We're going to see if we can't continue this. So next Saturday, 6 p.m., same time. And then, like I said, once the season starts, we'll start doing it on Tuesdays. It'll be more of like covering the team that we're going to be playing that week and going over how we can beat them and how they can beat us. So, Max, Corey, Ethan, you guys got anything left to say before we shut this down?
Nope, I
No,
think we
Nope.
covered
Nope.
time.
Just grateful. Excited for next week. Excited to see what happens.
yeah. Appreciate everybody showing up.
Yeah, for real. I had to do a double take on that 600 number.
616. It's amazing. You guys are
Woo!
crazy. Monday starts legal tampering. Okay, it goes till Wednesday, right? And then that's the start of the new year. And then officially free agency opens up. So we have a busy week this week.
Mhm.
So
And I'll also say for everybody on Twitter, add the people in here, the ones that we mentioned, because anything pops up, there'll probably be Twitter spaces that we start up for any break that comes along.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Shout out Glenn from over in the commander space. He's the one that got me to start doing the spaces in the first place. So wouldn't be here without you, buddy. Appreciate you.
And then last reminder, Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, we have Arrowhead AM,
Mhm.
which was the start of all of this.
Yep. Monday morning, 9
Yep.
a.m. on X. So show up there and kind of we'll get the tampering period started off real quick. Anyway, that's it. Appreciate you guys. We will see you next Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Thanks for stopping by. We'll
Thanks,
see you next
everyone.
time.